Yeah, Jeremy, I think 9 catches, 3 touchdowns. Who would have thunk it? 3 games into the year. Just how excited are you uh, where this has gone, especially with you tight ends involved?
I mean, it's exciting, but I think as you can see, a lot of those catches are based off of how much we impact the game in the run game. A lot of play action stuff, a lot of things open up through that. So it just shows how dedicated our unit is, not just me. We just put everything we can in to help the team in any way possible, and how hard we work in the run game is just really opening a lot of stuff up in the pass game.
Yeah, and one other quickie: how deep is this? Is this playbook? Is this play iPad? Whatever it is you guys have, from your vantage point, how would you describe it to somebody about so many directions you guys can go, literally from play to play, but definitely from series to series?
I mean, I think since we have such a deep and talented offense, I think we can pretty much do whatever Coach Day thinks is the best for each week, and that just goes into how each week is just different. We don't have like a base game plan. We have obviously our base plays that we can run in any game, but most of the plays we run are based off of the teams we're going to play, and we try and just get ready for that. So every week it changes, and it just shows how good we are at kind of taking the meetings to the field, and we only get one shot at most plays. So just trying to be able to execute it in practice so we can execute in the game.
Thanks, man.
All right. All righty. Next up, Nathan Baird, Cleveland.com. Nathan.
Hey, Jimmy, do you feel like more of a tight end today than you did even at the end of last season?
I definitely do. I definitely feel like I've grown a lot as a tight end. Being a complete tight end, I'm trying to do my best to do that. I still got a lot of work to do, but that was my goal coming into this season, was trying to be the most complete tight end I can be, and not just be a one-dimensional guy, because that just limits you in all different ways. So I've really just been trying to learn from the older guys, learn from the coaches on everything, and have an open mind towards doing anything, whether it's playing in the backfield or split out wide or attach the ball. So whatever they want me to do, I want to be able to do that, and I think that'll just help me moving forward.
What are you happiest about from your performance so far through 3 games?
I'd definitely say my blocking so far. Still got a lot of work to do, a lot of techniques. I can work on my technique a little bit better, as coaches say, but I think I'm really coming up the ball real well and playing with urgency and a lot of intensity. So I'm just trying to do that every single play and swing as hard as I can every play.
All righty, we'll go next to Stephen Means, Cleveland.com. Stephen.
Hey, Jeremy, you kind of hinted at playing in the backfield. I mean, have you ever played fullback before in your life before this season?
I mean, if you would have told me that coming out of high school that I'd be playing a little bit of fullback at Ohio State, I would kind of look at you kind of sideways. But like I said, it just goes back to earlier. Just trying to be the most versatile I can be as far as a tight end, and also just doing anything I can to help the team win, and just being able to switch up those looks and be able to go all over. I think might play with the defense a little bit more and give them more stuff to kind of prepare for. So I think whatever they think is best for me to do, I'm on board for. And I definitely didn't think I would do it, but it's kind of an exciting, cool thing to say I can.
You came here as a guy who was a receiving tight end with the need to develop in some other places. Joe Royer's kind of like that. I mean, when you talk to recruits who may ask you questions about that type of thing and other ways of developing as a tight end, having gone through it and seeing the payoff that you're getting now where you're being used in all these different ways, what do you tell these guys who are kind of going through a similar process you went through when you got here?
I think it sounds corny, but just to trust the process, trust the coaching, trust the strength staff, because coming in here when I was 17, I did not expect to be developed like this, and it took a long time. As Coach Wilson says, it's a developmental position, and it takes time, it takes reps, it takes experience, and it takes a different mindset. You can't just go out there and try and do everything at once. You have to really be able to learn not only from coaches but watch the older guys. You always see guys here that have been here, been through it. A lot of developmental guys as well. So, I mean, talking to them, just trusting the process, and I think you can go to other schools and get away with just being a one-dimensional receiving tight end, but I think coming here was the best decision I could have made, being able to work on all 3 aspects of it.
Do you ever get frustrated, though, where you're like, man, sometimes I just want the ball?
There's a little bit of that. We joke around in the tight end room a lot about it, but there's not much really you can say when you're putting up this amount of points, and our offense is so versatile, and we have so many different weapons. So, I mean, you obviously want the ball, but as you can see, our offense is doing well, and just being able to contribute the little that we do, it's fun to be a part of.
Thanks.
All righty, we'll go next to Austin Ward from Letterman Row. Austin.
Jeremy, how did you settle on ice in the veins as your touchdown celebration?
A little bit was talking back home with some of my people, but it happened last year kind of naturally in the Big Ten championship, and a couple of my friends back home and players on this team just said that it's got to be my thing now. So kind of just rolling with it and seeing as far as it goes, but trying to just celebrate with the teammates as much as possible and try to not make it as much about me.
So the first one wasn't planned, but now it's just in the arsenal.
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
Thanks, man.
All righty, next up, Bill Rabinowitz, Columbus Dispatch. Bill.
Yes, Jeremy. I know you've talked ever since you got here about becoming a complete tight end, but in terms of blocking. But to be third on the team in receptions, Ohio State's tight end receiving history. What do you think about that? You're third on the team in receptions.
I think it's pretty cool. I didn't really know that, but it's definitely something to be proud of. But like I said, just trying to do anything we can to impact the game, and if that's the way to do it, then I'll be all in for that. But I think you can just see how hard our tight ends have been working, how we can hold our own in the pass game, and how hard we've been working in other aspects. So it's definitely cool to say that, but it's not really what we're worried about. We're just trying to keep helping the team in any way possible and just see what the game plan has in for us.
And a question about Justin. Obviously, he had a great year last year, and he's well on his way again. The Heisman talk's already started. How does he handle all that kind of stuff within the team? I'm assuming he doesn't ever mention it, but just kind of what's your guys' feeling about that?
Well, I think our locker room, we mention it more than he does. He doesn't even really talk about it, like you said. He's very poised. He's a great leader, and you can just tell that whatever he does, he's always doing it for us and not for himself. And I think you guys can tell that from the outside looking in, that he's more about the team than his individual stats. And like our coaches say, if you just worry about us and worry about the guy next to you, individual stats will come and big plays will come. So I think he's just he's an example of that. And in many ways, he's just our leader, and you can just tell that he's about us.
All right. Thanks, Jeremy.
All right, next up, we'll go to Tony Gerdeman, Buckeye Scoop.
Jeremy, you just said you weren't aware that you were third on the team in receptions. What stats are tight ends aware of? Like, what do you look at after the game in your room?
I think the biggest thing that we talk about in our room is trying to get as many knockdowns as we can. Mitch Rossi last year had like probably 70, 80 plays and the most knockdowns on our team. So it's just something that we think about. We talk with a lot of other guys about, just trying to get people on the ground. And I think that's the most prideful stat that we could talk about.
And then knowing that now and the path you've taken to become a tight end, what do you feel better about afterwards, a tight end or a touchdown or a knockdown?
Depends on the situation. You can get some cheap ones here. In both of them, I get a couple play action touchdowns in the end zone where no one's really near me. So I think just being able to do both is something cool to say. And if you can do both in a game, I think that's what's pretty exciting.
Thank you.
All righty, next up, Spencer Holbrook, Leonard Monroe. Spencer.
Jeremy, you had some moments last year where you flashed, but the Big Ten title game, the one-handed catch that everybody went crazy over, did that kind of help you carry some confidence into this season? And how does one play kind of change the way you look at yourself in the system?
I don't really think that gave me any more confidence than I already had. I'm a pretty confident player. I play with confidence, and sometimes it can hurt me in the rocking game where you just swing and miss sometimes. But I think just playing with the mindset of you just go hard every play and see what happens after is how I've been kind of playing recently. And I think that's more of where the confidence is coming from, is just not about individual plays, but the work that you put in the off season and with Coach Mick and everybody. I think that's where your confidence really should come from. And as Coach Day says, just rely on your training and how you don't play up to the occasion. You just play down to the level of your training. So just trying to work the game mentally, physically, emotionally, all off season and all week leading up to games. I think that's where my confidence really comes from.
I've got time for two more questions. We'll go to Patrick Murphy and Brendan Gulick. So, Patrick, we'll start it with you.
Jeremy, going back to Steven's question about the fullback formation, when and how was that initially presented to you as we're going to line you up back in the backfield?
It's kind of like the same stuff we've been doing, just lining up in different spots. So, I mean, there's no real secret to it. It's just like doing the same kind of things that we've always been doing, just in different spots. So that's pretty much it. And
we saw one catch out of there, but I assume, there are things you can do out of there besides just blocking. Do you guys, without giving away company secrets, do you guys have some things that can be done from that formation?
I would say that Coach Day has many things out of every formation. Just put it like that.
Thanks.
Alrighty, we'll wrap it up with Brendan Gulick from Buckeyes Now on Sports Illustrated. Brendan.
Jeremy, how patient are you? You talk about being a 17-year-old when you come in and how long it takes to develop and learn the position. Are you a patient person in general?
I would definitely say I'm a patient person. I would think that my brothers would say that, my girlfriend would say that, my friends would say that I'm a patient person. I like working with kids in the off season with like camps, and I've always wanted to be kind of a teacher after football. So I think I'm kind of a patient person, but especially when you think about how my journey's been, just trying to learn everything from the older guys and develop into a player I want to be. I think patience is key, and waiting for your time and not letting your time pass you by, just going out and taking it.
How much do you work on the mental part of your game? I'm not talking about memorizing the playbook or things, but you know, the idea of trying to always keep an edge and staying mentally sharp and you know, keeping yourself in the best you know, internal position you can. How much of that is a focus for you?
I would say like growing mentally has really shown this year. I think my first couple of years when I would get out there, I would kind of be thinking all over the place about, like you said, the plays and what I'm supposed to do. And I think this year, as I've grown in the offense and learned it pretty much where I know it pretty well, I think I'm playing much more freely and being able to swing much harder when I'm running a route or going for a block or something. So I think the mental mindset of just trying to let everything loose, cut it loose, and just go, I think that's what's really been helping me a lot this year, and playing with confidence and just running as fast as I can on every play.
All right, Jeremy.